Welcome back. I'm your host, Connie Sokol with Call to Create. And today we are so delighted to be graced by the presence of someone you will know her voice. Probably you've seen the movie. We are having with us today Adassa, and you will know her from the movie Encanto. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Connie.
We are so delighted. I thoroughly enjoyed researching for this interview. I can't wait to share with you the things that I learned about her and also hear more about her journey to the road to Encanto. But let's get to the official thing and then we'll jump right into the questions. As you know, Adassa plays Dolores in Disney's blockbuster hit Encanto and is featured on Billboard's chart-topping song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, one of my favorites. As a bilingual Afro-Latina voice actress, singer, and songwriter, Adassa's work spans from animation to arena performances at Madison Square Garden. Adassa first emerged as a talent in McDonald's national Me Encanta campaign, preview of coming attractions, and later landed commercial roles with brands like Toyota and Procter & Gamble. Adassa's dynamic 4.5 octave vocal range, that's right, and artistry have resulted in features and performances on songs with Pitbull, Flo Rida, Snoop Dogg, and so many more. In addition to her vocal prowess, she is a sought-after lyricist, having written for the catalogs of Warner, Universal, and Sony. Adassa is married to Gabriel Candiani, and they have 7 children together. Adassa, you have so much for us to dig into here. So excited. Now, I have to tell you, as I was researching things, I saw this theme of family just woven through everything that you do. So take us back. Your mom and grandmother apparently wanted to be singers. Is that right? And they sang. Is that the case?
Yes, my grandmother wanted to be a singer, and my grandmother, she was born in Colombia and didn't come from a family with a lot of money or affluence or position, and so she tried to live her dream, but obviously that didn't go as far as she hoped. So she decided to become a nurse, take the safe route. And then when she had my mother had the dream as well. And she got as far as having a trio called Mar Azul, and they had a song on the radio, and they were, playing music and had a great time doing it for a short period of time. And then my mom also went into the medical field. And so my mom and my dad, they knew each other since they were in Colombia, since they were kids. They went to the same church and lived close by, the same kind of towns close by to each other. And so they refound themselves in the United States. They got married, and then I was born here, and so was my sister in the United States, in Florida. And so I had the dream since I was a little girl, and I really, really wanted to be a singer. My first dream was like, I'm going to go to school and I want to be an extra in Disney. Like that was like the highlight. That was okay, tangible dreams here. Okay, don't come from money. I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna be the biggest silver star like ever, and I'm just gonna be singing on stages everywhere, and I'm gonna be a Disney princess one day. Like, no, I was like, I'll be an extra. I'll direct people like, here are the bathrooms. Hello, welcome to Disney. Like, that was my highlight. That's what I wanted to do. And when I met my husband, he was like, I really feel that you have the talent to take it further. And so I got signed to my first record deal when I was 18. Then I got signed to my first major record deal with Universal Latino. And with Universal, I got to travel the world. I did songs with Luis Fonsi, with Ciara, with Missy Elliott, with Pitbull. I sang in the Madison Square Garden, American Airlines Arena. I traveled the world. And then I retired.
And let's take us back to, how was that world? I mean, that is the music industry, the Hollywood, all of those kind of industries are just almost surreal. So what was it like being in that world? How did you keep your head? How did you keep grounded? What was that like for you?
Well, family to me is number one and has always been like my first love, my first objective. The first thing is to keep them together. So I think that if you start on the foot of I'm in it to like make money, I want to be the best, well, you got to study the market. So who is the best and what are they doing? And so if you start following trends to be able to pave your way towards your success, you'll find yourself having to give up your principles, having to give up what you think is important, chasing the goal, which is the money, the fame, and that. And so I can't lie. And I'm not going to say, oh my goodness, that was never me. I've always been great, like going to church every Sunday. No, that was not me. I did take that left-hand turn because when I started in the music business and I got signed to my record deal, I wanted to be competitive and I wanted to be at the level of everyone else. And so I started studying the market and I started doing all these things, hence why I'm saying it. And then I found myself pushing the line until I was in the gray, or so I thought. And then I kept pushing and I kept pushing until I could no longer go further. And I was very grateful for all the opportunities that I had in my music and had a great career. And then I said, you know, I know what I believe in, I know my principles, and I am unwilling to compromise my principles to go to another level. And I was comfortable. My husband and I were like, okay, so we're good. We'll just retire. My husband works for Warner Chappell and he has his own music library, Sky Urbano. And so he does music for film and TV. So then I was home and I was baking bread and I was, you know, teaching my kids and I was doing homeschooling and that's what I was doing. And you know what? A baby's going to pop up because that's just what always happens. You're going to get one in this interview. See, I can hear the door. I'm like Dolores. I seriously have these superpowers. Come here, sweetie. Want to sit?
Which comes with motherhood. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I'll do it. And then you can say hi. You want to say hi to Connie? Here, say hi. Hello. Hi. This is Mimi. Okay, go upstairs. We can go upstairs, okay?
Daddy.
Okay, go over there with Daddy. You go with Daddy.
No, Daddy is working.
He's working, so you want to work too? Okay, see, that's what happens. This is the thing. When you have priorities, my priority is my family. So when I'm home and I'm not traveling, I'm mommy. You're like, I'm here. And my husband has studios on either ends of the house. So my studio is on one side, his studio is on the other. And so when I did what I thought like was the best for me to get that prize, to get to the next level, to get to where I thought that I was going to be happy. And then I noticed, you know what, I'm not willing to keep compromising. I stepped away, I retired, and then Disney came a knocking. And it was through a video that we did and we posted on YouTube. It was a song that we were just trying a new style, a vocal style. And it had a rap that goes, háblame claro, dime por qué acabó. Lo de nosotros fue más de una noche de simple pasión. And that was the sound that I was playing with. And lo and behold, it turned into Bruno living fear, Bruno stuttering and stumbling. I can always see him sort of muttering and mumbling. I associate him with the sound of falling sand, which is how they got a hold of me, my YouTube channel.
Isn't that crazy? And I understand there was only like a couple hundred views on that video.
Yes, it was like 300 views. It was not a big thing. I mean, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I had like 500,000 views on it. No, it was something we were having fun with. I was still doing reggaeton, but I was doing it on my terms. I really wanted to be expressive. I wanted to show love. I wanted to show passion, but in a way that I could control, you know. And I'm just grateful to have the opportunity to still have a second wind at this. You know, I was very, very happy and very humbled that I was able to do it the first time around. Being an Afro-Latina in this business was not easy. It is not easy. I mean, I am telling anybody out there that is dreaming about being an artist, being a singer, being an actor, if you can do anything, are you listening to me? Anything else, do that. Because it is not an easy business to be in. And my husband and I, unfortunately, we just can't. This is what we do. This is who we are. So
I think that goes back to that whole feeling of called to create. You know, you've gone on this journey that most people would think once you're in it, don't leave it because it's not going to be easy to get back in. It wasn't easy to get in the first place. But you had that courage and that compelled feeling to leave it on your terms and then come back on your terms. And I think it's fabulous that soft rap was exactly what Disney was looking for. So let's go to that audition because I understand that you did a bold and brave thing. Again, this family element that in the audition, you actually brought up your father. I think it's Ernesto Diaz, if I have that right. And you brought up this family story. Now, I've done some auditions for things. It's not normal to come in, not usual to come in and just say, hey, can you hold on a sec? I got something to share with you. So take us through that. What were your thoughts and feelings about that? What prompted that?
Well, my father lost his dad when he was 9, and so he became the man of the house. And so for him, it was extremely difficult because he had a dream of coming to the United States. They did not have any money. I mean, he was selling arepas and pan de abono door to door in like the nicer neighborhoods in Colombia. Like that was it. That was being able to eat or not eat. That was what they had. And so he had 5 sisters. He lost a sibling when he was very, very young. You took a picture. Oh, look at Connie. She took a picture of us there.
Natural. She's starting young.
And so I was like, if this is the only time they're ever going to hear from me, I want them to know my family story, because I have the benefits of being in this country and having these opportunities because of the sacrifices my parents made, and the sacrifices the whole family had to make for many years to be able to survive. And so as soon as Byron Howard, Jared Bush, Yvette Merino was there, the casting director, Jamie Sparrow Roberts, which I am so grateful for her to even take the opportunity to look and sift through my profiles, along with Grace Kim, which was her assistant. And they were there, and I was just like, hi, can I tell you about my family? Like, that was immediately the first thing I wanted to do. It was like, talk to him about my family. Hold on a second. Please over here. These are going to really loud. A little loud, baby girl. I'm like, come on, Daddy. Come on. Hold on. I'm gonna set her up with Daddy. Say bye-bye. Hey,
You got it. See you in a minute. Bye, sweetie.
I'm gonna take care of her, Daddy.
Totally good. I love it. It's perfect. I love it.
Well,
we left off. No worries. This is how we roll as moms, and I love it.
This is it. And I mean, I do what I can during the day, and usually I don't book things unless I'm touring where I have my like contained environment. But if I'm here just a few days out of the week, I want to be here with the kids. And so sometimes she's just like, yeah, sure, I know you have an interview. I'm coming in anyway.
I like her confidence and her acknowledging and ownership of herself, of like, I'm important and my mom loves me, and I'm going to come in and say, hey, and I love that. I love it. Go ahead. You were talking about this whole kind of experience of how this.
Oh man, I started popping out the pictures. Like, I was ready, because I'm like, if this is all they hear of me, they're going to hear my father's name, Ernesto Diaz, my mother's name, Gladys. I'm going to tell them about my grandfather. I'm going to tell them about my grandmother. Like, I'm like, I don't know when I will have the opportunity for their names to be remembered in the minds of these creatives that hold the experiences that our kids are growing up with. Those things that are going to become memories in their minds is what they hold in their hands. So being with those incredible professionals and telling them, and then I was showing them my pictures, and I was like, here's my grandma, my dad, my grandfather, this is me, and my sister. And then they were like, that is great. Are you going to sing for us? I was like, oh yeah, that's what this is for.
That's amazing. And I think it's so parallel to the whole story in Encanto, and that whole feel. I just can't help but feel that was meant to be. And then you get that audition, and that makes that happen. And you start working with incredible people. Lin-Manuel, I mean, like, how was that? What did you learn? What were some of the things that you experienced with that?
Well, the song that I auditioned with was one of his amazing songs from Hamilton, which was Satisfied. So this is what it feels like to match with someone at your level. What the hell is a catch? It's the feeling of freedom, of seeing the light that's been fracking with a key and a kite. You see it, right? So that's what I auditioned with. And I did a couple of mashups, after that. And I thought, this is Disney. They can have anybody in the world. So I thought, this is great. This was a wonderful opportunity.
Great experience.
Was wonderful. One for the bucket list. Kind of like, I did that. I had to call back with Disney, tell the kids about it. And then working with Lin-Manuel was an incredible experience, because he's so talented. Everything that we were listening to that we needed to learn was only his vocal. Everything with this project was very hush hush. And so it would be like Lin on Lin with more Lin on top. That's what we would hear. And when it was time for me to meet with him over Zoom, because we had to do this at distance, through COVID, we had to record this incredible film. And so we had our recording studio. I actually recorded in this booth in this side of the house. And when I met with him after working with Byron Howard and Jared Bush, especially Jared, that I got to work a lot with him during my sessions, I thought, I couldn't hear Dolores going, "Girl, I live in fear, Bruno stuttering and stumbling." Like, I just couldn't hear her there. I know. I'm like, I mean, it's beautiful, but like, that's not Dolores when she's like, "The only one worried about the magic is you, and the rats talking in the walls. Oh, and Lisa, I heard her eye twitching all night." Everything was super calm and super intimate. And so I was like, I hope I don't get fired. But I gotta say, like, I was like, "Can I show you what I'm thinking?" And he was like, "Sure." And I showed him the "Good to live in fear," like really intimate and low. And he was like, "I love it." And so he's really great and open to us bringing our creativity to the mix.
Oh, that is just pure joy. And the fact that you do it in your fingerprint way, on your terms, where not on your terms, but in this way of, this is my soul. This is how I want to express this. And this is the way that I can best utilize my talent, and essentially for him in the way that you are going about it. I just love this unfolding in this journey. And let's kind of switch gears for a second. So with your beliefs, they've woven through your life as well. Now, I believe you were Seventh-day Adventist first, right? And then became Latter-day Saint. So take us through that journey. What drew you to that? And what was the journey on that as you kind of paralleled this through your singing experience?
So yes, I grew up in a faith-based home with my parents. And so we used to sing a lot together as a family, and they are holistic doctors. And so I loved music so much. And when I met my now husband, Gabriel, and that time he was the producer of the first group that I was signed to, we had conversations about religion and one of those typical stories where you fell in love while working on an album. And by far, it is not a perfect story. I was very young. I had my first kid when I was 18. So it's been quite an amazing journey to be able to have both an incredible husband, finding my faith, having my children, and juggling the dream at the same time. But life isn't made to be easy. Just like President Nelson said, the Lord loves effort. We gotta put in some effort. So if you're thinking this is going to be a free ride where you get everything you want and you don't have to move a finger, you signed up for the wrong ride.
Yep.
That's not this. And so when I found the gospel, and my husband and I would have conversations, and then he said, I don't want you to become a member because I'm a member. I want you to find your own testimony. So I started getting the talks from the missionaries, and then he started coming to my church as well. So he started going to the Seventh-day Adventist church with me, and we had the missionaries from the Seventh-day Adventist church as well. And then I prayed about it, and then I read the Book of Mormon, and then I knew what was true for me. And I understand that being from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and living a higher law and having a well-set guideline and parameter of principles to be the ones that govern your life is not exactly for everyone. And not anyone who is just I'm just going to belong to this church because I like the people and they're cool. This is a place that you're learning what you're really made out of and who you really are.
Yes,
it really shows you this is your potential. This is your potential. Are you willing to put in the work to become as great and incredible and find out you're not so awesome? Because that's what I've learned. You have more kids, you find out, I don't have patience. I did. But I guess after 4 kids, no. And once you get to 7, you're like, I'm the crazy one. All right.
I have 7 kids, and I have had that experience where every child is a mirror, and you go, another facet of me that I get to see. Yay.
Yeah.
How fabulous that you could connect on those deeper principles. And I love how you bring up that the gospel really does help you fill the measure of your creation. That it really is a flourishing and it's a shedding at the same time. Coming into who he can see you to be. And I think it's amazing that you and your husband not only get to share the creative aspect, but this spiritual aspect as well. And you two have composed songs together. Is that right?
Oh, many, like many thousands of songs that are now on film and TV all over the world. And he's also worked with like Paulina Rubio and just huge artists like Luis Fonsi and Juanes and so many incredible artists. And he's worked for labels like Sony and Universal along with, Warner Chappell. And so he's a creative in his own right. And he's my manager because he's awesome, because he doesn't need to be. He just knows me better than me. But I will say, one of the reasons why I didn't come out of the Christian closet was because I really didn't feel worthy to say, hey, this is my belief system, because a lot of people think, oh, then that person is the one that represents the church. And it's like, I don't. And if you think I am so sorry. My bad. Sorry, because I screwed up way lots. Like, I mean, that's super. I can't, repent and come back from it. But at the same time, I feel like I don't want to be somebody that they look at and like follow my train. Trust me, I made a lot of wrong turns, and my husband and I have had to figure our way back to where we feel happy with who we are, and we worship in a way that we can have joy. Because at first I thought, when I became a member, and then I really started getting into it, and once we got sealed in the temple with our kids for time and all eternity, then I was like, oh, that's it. I'm going to become Molly Mormon. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to learn how to sew our clothes and make all of our food from scratch. And it's like, wait, that's not bringing me joy. So like, I have to understand who I was, all the parameters of being a God-following person, and find who I could be with who I was from the root up, and who my husband was, and the kind of beings that we are, beasts that we're trying to tame, and find where we could be happy and have a happy home and be happy with our children. And that doesn't exactly mean that I'm going to be like milling wheat from scratch. So like, I had to come to terms with, there's a balance, people. And
I love that. I remember Chico Kazaki saying there's two ways to, there's many ways to do canned peaches. You can buy them in a can, or you can can them yourself at home, and it's still a great peach, right? And I'm paraphrasing through it. I love this idea of this journey to find that genuine way of worshiping the Lord, keeping the commandments. There's all kinds of thoughts and feelings around that. And I love that you have allowed yourself to take that genuine journey to create that relationship with Heavenly Father and the Savior. Now, I want to touch on really quickly, if we can, you both are working in the same industry, and you're both parenting, and then there's got to be time for you guys. So how do you navigate this shifting of gears together? That is not easy to do for any couple that's maybe got a business or whatever, but this is so high profile and so out there as well. Any tips and tools that you have found for those that are out there and kind of have a similar experience? Any tips that you have for how to navigate that?
I would say it becomes a list of priority. And for us, because our kids are first priority, we have tried like to have a live-in, but then at the same time, we like our privacy when we're home, and we've had some wonderful people that have nannied for us or babysat for us. And so we kind of do it in the way that works for us. And we kind of do the hot potato. Okay, hot potato, it's your turn. And so when I'm on tour, my husband becomes Mr. Mom, and he says he's not good at it. I think he's awesome. And I'm learning, because I'm like Sergeant Mother. Like, I get back and I'm like, I should never see a shoe on the floor, no shirt. You're choosing your clothes the night before. Like, I'm coming up, 600 hours in that room must be spotless. But my husband's like,
quarter on the bed.
He's like, everybody's chill, and like, let's just be cool and have fun and be happy and whatever you want. We'll make 6 different breakfasts. And so I've had to learn that my kids need to have that freedom. And he's also had to learn like, oh, dang, we need a little structure too. And we've found a newer, deeper admiration for each other and what our roles are. Because as much as people say like there are no roles and you can just do whatever, I think that innately there is a pull. I want to be the nurturer, and I wish to be more at home. And so we have decided there are so many great opportunities that have come our way, 7-8 figure opportunities. And I've had to turn down because I go, does this align with my priorities and my principles? And when any of it says no, then I say, thank you, but no. And And that's the biggest thing that I would have to recommend. You have to see what it is that you feel your life looks like in the future, and imagine every step that it takes and every yes and every no that you would make for that, like a chess game. You got to see the end result before you move a piece, because if not, then that's where resentment comes in. Resentment to your kids, like all these expectations that you have, and you drill into your children, live the dreams I couldn't, and it's not. It's more like, I get to watch 7 spirits that came from Heavenly Father's home, who are ageless like me, get to have their journey and their mortal experience. And then I got to watch and cringe every time they do something. I'm like, oh, why would you do that? Or like be admiring of, wow, you got to do that? Like, I don't even know what that's like. Like my daughter right now, she's 24. She's living in New York. She's living her life. Like, she's living a life I never did. Why? Because I met the man of my dreams, my companion, my eternal companion, very early in life. And she's living another phase in her life. So it's like watching TV when I'm like, really, that happened? What? And I get to live that. So our kids get to branch out and live their lives, being instructed by their parents, but then it's like they'll take our advice or they won't. I mean, and we see it like when we read the scriptures, there was Cain, there was Abel, there was Nephi, and there was Laman and Lemuel, and then there was Sam. I'll just follow that guy. Right, so we get to see that, and they're not a reflection of us. They're not a reflection of our decisions. We are the ones that take responsibility for our actions, our decisions, our reactions. They're the ones living their lives. And hopefully we can lead them enough of a path that they can follow and where Heavenly Father is going to lead them. But if they don't, that's what they're here for. They're here to find out who they are. And so we have a lot of respect for what we each do. He's an incredible producer. I mean, highly acclaimed. He's got over 6,000 placements, my husband, on TV and film. And then he's like making shakes and singing the Poo-Poo's in the Pants song during the weekend. And then we get to do fun things. Like we went to the AMAs and we were singing hopelessly devoted to you, to each other. And then we were watching Pink perform, and then next thing we know, like our phone is blowing up. They're like, you guys are going viral. You guys are in the video. And we're like, what? So yeah, they pan the cameras to us singing to each other. And so we get to have that together. We get to do the Oscars and do the AMAs, but at the same time, we get to see our kid go to FSY this year and take her, to school and dances and activity day leader. And so we have this life that we've gotten to, and I can't say double life. It's just this very full life with a lot of colors.
It's beautiful, a woven life, this tapestry that you are creating with these gorgeous colors that are intentionally chosen, with the unintentional and unexpected that comes in for pop, right? For flavor. I love this beautiful theme that has been throughout this interview, this family-driven, open to developing and becoming and sharing those gifts authentically, genuinely, in the timing and way that is working for you, regardless of whether you realize it at the time or not. But you're making those choices. And even with your kids, I love that you made the choice, popped back out of it, popped back in the way that you wanted to, and you're living that dream in the way that you may not have anticipated 20 years ago, but now it's here. You've got all those pieces that are so nourishing and delicious. And you got it, and you're living it every day, and you're managing it and balancing and laughing through the thing. It's just so satisfying. And I love that was that word in that song of satisfied. It's just so delicious to hear. And Adassa, my heart just is so full with your authentic way of sharing this, the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things go into this beautiful life stew. It's just fantastic. Moving forward, share with us what's coming ahead. What are you excited about besides all the growth of your kids and this moving forward in this beautiful journey? Anything that's ahead that you're like, you know what? Didn't think this was coming, but here it is.
I'm so excited. I mean, we just did the live performance of Encanto, live at the Hollywood Bowl with all of the cast. That was incredible because it was being in family again. And we got to perform, and it was 2 sold out nights, 17,000, almost 18,000 people at the Hollywood Bowl. in LA. And then we were opened up and introduced by Lin-Manuel Miranda himself, and Jared Bush was there, and Byron Howard, and Yvette Marino was there. So it was such a lovely experience to be together as like a cast family. And this year we have so many fun things we're doing. I'm going to be singing at the Oakland Temple and with a symphony. That's going to be wonderful in October. I'm also doing Roots Tech in March. So I'm excited about finding out about my lineage. I don't have a lot. And then I have 2 new albums coming out. One that is like a really intense and fun rock pop album in English, and then a Spanish cumbia mixed with reggaeton with Warner Chappell as well. So lots of fun projects, and then a lot of touring, doing Comic Cons, live events, and shows. So I will be doing a lot. But like I said, that's where the priorities come through, because we've had to inform people, like, we don't travel. I do not travel more than 2, maximum 3 weekends out of the month, and the rest of the time I'm home, because of that same thing. Sometimes you have to say no to money so you can say yes to moments. And moments you can never get back. You know, I can't get back that moment where my kid and I get to sit down and make muffins, like in that particular day that she comes home from school, or there's a concert or something. So that's the thing. And moments are priceless. Because when you look back, if you lose a family picture, like, have you ever like had a grandfather or grandmother picture, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't find the picture. And you're like crying because that moment in time is gone forever. That's how priceless for me, my family is, and spending time with them. And so when I say no to an opportunity to gain money, I'm like, yeah, but that no amount of millions of dollars could ever pay for that moment that I'm going to miss. And so I do that. And then sometimes I get the wonderful opportunity to take the family with me, like in Roots Tech. So we're going to all go together. We'll be in Salt Lake City. And so that's really fun, because they get to see what mom does. And sometimes I take them on tours with me too. So they're like familiar with it. And my daughter, Elisabella, she's actually one of the town kids in Encanto. You know, she was one of the ones like screaming in the background. So
fabulous. And again, woven through, it's not parallel train tracks. You're weaving your kids in and through each other's lives. And they're learning so much from you and your husband of confidence and pursuing dreams and developing your talents and gifts, and the priorities that they can feel and know that they come first. I love that line. You have to sometimes say no to money to say yes to the moments. Absolutely stellar. Adassa, it's been pure joy today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for those that want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
You can follow me on social media at Adassa Official, ADASSA Official, and that's on TikTok, on my Twitter, on my Instagram, YouTube channel, and on Facebook as well. So Adassa Official, please do follow me, and you'll be seeing a lot of what I'm doing on the road.
So fantastic. Can't wait. You'll be in our neck of the woods. Thank you so much. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Again, if you love this, go below, rate, review, and subscribe. Remember, we have so many fabulous interviews from all kinds of creatives, from Steve Young to Gerald Lund to Lisa Valentine Clark to Jane Clayson Johnson. We have all of them sharing with you their journey so that you can be helped on your journey to be called to create.